Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today, autonomous AI agents are running up massive compute bills while doing our jobs. Amazon is turning your shopping cart into an interactive podcast. And the data shows we're all finally exhausted by the endless scroll.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely hitting a collision point, right?
Yeah.
Unlimited digital ambition is just slamming into the very stubborn limits of physical reality.
Exactly. And we've got an incredible deep dive for you today. We always try to treat your timeline not just as noise, but as a real-time newswire of the future.
Hmm.
And looking at the data today, there is a super clear narrative. We are moving out of the hype phase and entering the messy, really expensive, hyper-optimized deployment phase.
Well, I'd actually argue it's less a clean deployment phase and more of a chaotic reality check,
Fair.
because we have these world-eating digital systems, but now we actually have to figure out how to plug them into a world that still runs on, copper pipes and 15-year-old databases.
Mm-hmm. Right, and biological needs, which we'll get into. But let's start with the most dramatic shift happening in software right now. We are fully in the agentic era.
Yeah, the chatbots are dead.
Basically, there was a viral thread today from @Stipeat showcasing the new /goal feature in Codex, and the screenshot he posted is just staggering.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, his AI agent ran completely autonomously for 11 hours and 31 minutes. It was just looping, finding bugs, writing fixes, testing them, failing, and trying again. All day. No human intervention.
Which is a profound mechanical shift.
Yeah.
Up until now, prompting was entirely transactional. You ask a question, you get an answer.
Right.
But the /goal command turns that prompt into a self-sustaining loop. Even if your laptop goes to sleep, the agent's memory persists.
It's persistent, yeah.
Exactly. And you see the exact same thing accelerating with Sam Altman announcing today that OpenClaw.
Oh, the happy lobstering thing.
Yeah, the open source local agent people affectionately call happy lobstering. He announced it then now lets you sign in directly with a ChatGPT subscription. So you can just have this agent sitting on your local machine, curating your inbox forever.
Wait, okay, so I know what you're thinking at home. If this thing is running all day, every day, constantly reading and writing, who is paying for 11 hours of compute?
I am so glad you asked, because that is the massive blind spot the consensus is totally ignoring right now.
Yeah.
The economics are terrifying. When an agent is in a continuous loop, every single step is burning tokens.
Right. Reading the error code, trying again, it all adds up.
It is mechanically equivalent to getting in a taxi, telling the driver to wait in your driveway while you figure out where you want to go, and just leaving the meter running for 11 hours.
Wow.
You are trading a human salary for raw API compute costs, and those costs compound violently.
Violently is the right word, but I think the UX designers know that, right? Like, they know we'd freak out if we stared at a terminal window watching a taxi meter spin out of control all day. Oh, absolutely.
So they mask it with gamification. Did
Yeah.
you see the launch from the official OpenAI devs account today? They introduced Codex pets.
The little animated blue robots.
Yes. You type /pet, and this adorable blue robot wakes up on your desktop. It functions as a persistent overlay so you can track the AI's coding progress. You can even hatch custom sprites.
It is a brilliantly cynical piece of psychological engineering.
You think it's cynical?
Completely. A cute virtual pet on your screen is the perfect distraction from that astronomical taxi meter running in the background. It humanizes the agent.
Right, makes you feel attached to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it totally obfuscates the fact that this little blue robot is essentially a high-powered vacuum cleaner, sucking money straight out of your enterprise cloud budget.
That's dark.
It's true, though. We've taken the same manipulative engagement loops from social media and applied them to enterprise compute.
Okay, let me push back on that a bit.
Yeah.
Because the market isn't just sitting there distracted by cute robots. Developers are actively revolting against the costs.
Look at what happened with Theo at Theo on X. He's an independent developer who publicly diagnosed a bug causing a 99.9% cache miss rate for Azure customers hosting OpenAI models.
We should probably explain the mechanism of a cache miss for the audience, because it's really crucial to why these costs are such a bottleneck.
Yeah, go for it.
So imagine you're studying for a test. A cache hit is when you remember the answer off the top of your head. It's instant.
Right.
A cache miss means you have to get up, walk to the library, find the physical textbook, and look up the answer. Now imagine having to walk to the library for every single word in a sentence.
Which sounds exhausting.
That is exactly what Azure was doing. It was fetching data from slow primary storage instead of fast temporary memory.
Right, so Theo basically complained his way into getting Microsoft to push a fix, and the result was a 10x improvement in latency and throughput.
Which is massive.
It is. And simultaneously, you have Eric Jiang at Veggie Eric launching Grok 4.3 today. He specifically pointed out they ignored generic benchmarks and built something incredibly cheap.
Yeah, like $1.25 in, 250 out.
Exactly. And blisteringly fast at 100 tokens per second, purely optimized for tool calling.
See, this exposes a massive shift in the balance of power.
How so?
Well, the conventional wisdom is that big tech conglomerates hold all the leverage because they own the data centers.
Oh.
But modern AI routing works like a high-frequency financial exchange now.
Oh, because of platforms like OpenRouter?
Precisely. They instantly detected Microsoft's latency fix and began rerouting massive amounts of global traffic to Azure in real time.
Wow.
Theo, an independent dev, forced Microsoft's hand publicly, and the market routed around the friction instantly. Open routing gives independent developers the real leverage right now.
And that agility is exactly what's pushing these agents out of the server rooms and onto Main Street. Because if AI agents are getting cheaper and faster, they aren't just going to write code anymore.
Right, they're going to interact with the real economy.
Exactly. They are going to start buying and selling things for us. Nos Research just launched an official Hermes agent skill for Shopify. And this wasn't some slick, heavily edited marketing video.
No, it was a 50-second demo of pure curl-based API calls.
Yeah, and let's translate that for anyone who doesn't spend their day in a code editor. When I say curl-based and no clunky SDKs, I mean it strips away all the heavy software kits that usually hold developers back.
It's just direct, raw communication with the database.
Right. The agent doesn't need to look at a beautifully designed storefront. It just blasts commands directly into the server to manage inventory, create draft orders, and fulfill them instantly.
It completely bypasses the graphical user interface of the internet. It's commerce as code.
Exactly. And while the agents are talking directly to databases in the background, the AI is talking to us in entirely new ways on the front end.
Oh, the Amazon thing.
Yes. Trung Fan highlighted this wild update today. Apparently, a very bright Amazon intern built a new interactive AI podcast feature for product reviews.
Hear the highlights tool.
Yeah. It synthesizes thousands of user reviews into a natural audio dialogue between two AI hosts. And there's a join a chat mode where you can interrupt the AI hosts and ask questions in real time.
Which is wild.
But the fascinating part is how it handles the edge cases. They demoed the AI dealing with a completely deranged user prompt about an inflatable gummy bear pool float.
Yeah, and the fake dog poop prank item.
Right. And it flawlessly reviewed the fake dog poop without breaking character. It understands the tone of the product and dynamically adjusts its synthetic personality to match.
I look at it a bit differently.
Okay, cynical hat on. Let's hear it.
I mean, it's a remarkable technical achievement, obviously.
Yeah.
But it represents a highly sanitized, fully digitized, closed-loop environment.
Because Amazon controls everything.
Exactly. Amazon controls the data, they control the interface, they control the fulfillment. The AI is playing in a perfectly manicured sandbox.
Yeah.
I'm much more interested in what happens when this technology hits the physical, boring, messy legacy economy.
You mean the dirty work?
Precisely. Cody Sanchez brought this up today, and I think it highlights the actual bottleneck in the market. She pointed out that one of the biggest wealth-building opportunities right now isn't building a smarter LLM.
It's building AI voice agents for HVAC and plumbing companies?
Yes, because right now, every single one of those businesses sends customer calls to voicemail after 5 p.m.
Which is just a massive leak in their sales funnel. Like, if my pipe bursts at 9 p.m., I'm not leaving a voicemail and hoping they call me tomorrow. I'm calling the next guy on Google until a human answers.
And an AI voice agent fixes that overnight. It answers the phone, triages the emergency, books the appointment directly into the calendar. But here is the reality check.
Okay.
Cody polled over 3,000 small business owners, and only 5% of them are actually using these voice agents.
But why is it so low? I mean, the technology is already here. We just talked about Grok driving costs down. You have companies like Vapi and Bland offering these exact services today. Why wouldn't a plumber adopt this?
Because the bottleneck is never the AI. It is always the human integration. Imagine trying to integrate a cutting-edge AI voice agent into a plumbing company's archaic 15-year-old on-premise Windows CRM system. It is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Furthermore, you're selling to a non-technical owner. A guy running an HVAC fleet doesn't necessarily want more leads if he doesn't have the physical capacity, the actual human technicians and trucks, to take the jobs.
Right. He cares about physical throughput, not a slick AI.
Exactly. The real money isn't in training the AI, it's in the grueling, unglamorous work of local integration.
That makes total sense. We can build a genius AI, but if it can't talk to a 2012 Windows database, or if there isn't a human in a truck to execute the job, the AI is economically useless.
Oh, completely useless.
And that is the perfect bridge to the ultimate constraints we're facing right now, which are physical hardware and biology.
Yes.
Today, SpaceX confirmed they routinely deployed 29 more Starlink satellites Group 1038 into orbit. It's almost mundane at this point. They are just blanketing the Earth in low-latency internet.
But see, scaling infrastructure in the vacuum of space is, ironically, a solved problem.
Because it relies on predictable physics.
Right. I am far more concerned with what happens when the physical environment is completely unpredictable.
Like the human brain. Look at the Neuralink update today. They showed off their surgical robot, and it's an engineering marvel.
It really is.
It inserts hundreds of ultra-fine threads with thousands of electrodes within microns of targeted neurons. And it does this while actively dodging blood vessels and adapting to the micro-movements of the brain in real time.
I read that thread, and the context around it really exposes the ultimate physical edge case, which is our own biology.
Right. Brains aren't solid-state hard drives.
Exactly. They possess neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
They heal, they scar, they age, they physically shift inside the fluid of the skull.
And Neuralink now has over 670 days of human implant data.
And they are already realizing they have to upgrade their hardware from hundreds to 3,000 electrodes just to maintain signal retention.
Wow.
Why? Because the biological environment is relentlessly hostile to static hardware.
There's this incredible friction right now between perfect computer simulations and messy reality. Brian Johnson posted this animated 100-kilometer race simulation today that illustrates this perfectly.
Oh, the one with the animals.
Yeah, it pitted a human against a lion, a camel, a horse, a wolf, a bear, an ostrich, and a cheetah.
And in the simulation, the cheetah takes a massive untouchable lead early on.
Right, but then the model introduces a variable. The cheetah falters when it hits the sand. It loses its footing, it gets exhausted, and it gets sidetracked because it's a biological animal, not an algorithm.
And that analogy is the defining framework for everything we're discussing today.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the mechanics of why the cheetah fails.
Okay.
Its biology is hyper-optimized for short, explosive sprints on solid ground. It's an apex predator of speed.
Mm.
But a 100-kilometer race across sand is an ultramarathon.
It requires endurance?
Exactly.
Mm.
Just like an AI voice agent failing when it hits a local plumber's archaic CRM. Just like a brain implant losing signal when the living tissue naturally shifts. Simulations and clean lab demos always fail at the edge cases. Reality is messy, wet, and deeply unpredictable.
Okay, so physical reality is stubborn. But how are we, the humans, actually handling all this hyper-optimization? Like, are we thriving?
I wouldn't say thriving, no.
Well, look at this chart from A16's today. It shows that daily social media scrolling is actually on the decline across all age groups. We're literally putting our phones down.
Yeah, I wouldn't celebrate just yet.
Why not?
Look at the context provided by users like ZeroAct today. They attribute this drop in screen time to the rise of clip-sharing platforms like Doeslow.
Oh, right.
These platforms use AI to algorithmically extract the absolute peak highlights from long-form videos, so we don't have to watch the whole thing. The AI curates the best 15 seconds, and we move on.
So we're saving time.
We are not saving time to be more mindful. We are simply demanding more concentrated, highly efficient doses of dopamine. We no longer have the patience to search for the psychological reward. We want the algorithm to inject the reward directly into our retinas with zero friction. We aren't curing the addiction, we're just distilling the drug.
Concentrated dopamine. That totally explains the Mr. Beast post today. It is a terrifying masterclass in the negative-sum gamification of human psychology.
Oh, the $1 million thing.
Yes, he offered $1 million to anyone who's was the only on his post after 24 hours.
Which is a mathematical impossibility on an account with his following.
Exactly. But people couldn't resist the mechanic. It got 400,000 likes instantly. The replies were chaotic people begging others to unlike the post, trying to manipulate the counter, sabotaging each other.
It provides zero tangible value.
Absolutely zero.
All right.
But it brilliantly hijacks our attention purely to game the algorithm for maximum visibility. It is utterly exhausting.
And we're taking that same exhausting optimization and applying it to our basic biological survival now. Did you see Peter Lovell's post today about the CO2 bedroom challenge?
Yes, this one blew my mind. He posted a graph tracking his bedroom air quality. He lives in a major city, so if he opens his window at night, he gets woken up at 6 a.m. by the chaos of the urban environment.
Garbage trucks, barking dogs.
Right. So the logical choice is to close the window to get some peace and quiet. But when he does, the CO2 levels from his own exhalations in that sealed bedroom spike to over 1,180 parts per million by 5 a.m.
Which is a critical threshold.
Yeah.
At that level of CO2, you are significantly impairing your sleep quality and your cognitive function for the entire next day.
Yeah.
You are essentially suffocating in your own breath just to escape the noise of the city.
And the replies were filled with people debating the merits of installing thousands of dollars of ERV and HRV systems. For anyone unfamiliar, those are energy recovery and heat recovery ventilation systems.
Massive industrial unit.
Exactly. Just to cycle fresh air into a sealed room without letting the outside noise in. People are treating a good night's sleep like a complex engineering problem requiring enterprise hardware.
It ties everything we've analyzed today together perfectly. No wonder the data shows we are exhausted. We are carrying an immense cognitive load.
Huge.
We're dealing with industrial ventilation systems just to sleep. We are tracking API cache misses and token costs. And we are constantly navigating algorithmic stunts designed to mine our attention. The psychological weight of living in the deployment phase of the future is just crushing.
Which perfectly explains why the most resonant, emotional post on the timeline today wasn't about AI agents or space travel. It was from the Nostalgia Folder account.
Yeah, the sunrise video.
It was just a grainy, low-resolution, 20-second video of a misty coastal sunrise on January 1st, 2000 at 5:23 a.m. It went massively viral, millions of views.
Unbelievable.
And if you read the comments, people aren't just nostalgic for the visual aesthetic of early digital cameras. They miss the overarching vibe of the Y2K era.
I think we misremember Y2K, honestly.
Yeah.
We often dismiss it now as a silly calendar formatting bug that never amounted to anything.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was a very tangible physical fear.
People thought planes would fall out of the sky.
Exactly. But compared to today, that fear feels almost quaint. Back then, the threat was that the machines would simply stop working. Today, the existential threat is that the machines will never stop working.
Wow. Yeah.
You have an autonomous AI agent doing your job better than you for 11 hours straight, while a blue robot smiles at you from the desktop. People are yearning for a time when technology was something you could just unplug.
That is a really profound distinction. Let's synthesize this entire deep dive. We are building incredible world-eating tools. We have autonomous Codex agents looping infinitely, Starlink constellations, surgical robots threading microscopic needles into the brain. But the final bosses we are facing aren't software problems. The final bosses are physical reality, outdated plumbing CRMs, and our own biological need for quiet sleep and simpler times.
And based on the trends we've analyzed today, here's my prediction for the next 6 months. Watch for a massive systemic pivot in venture capital funding.
Away from AI models.
Yes. The smart money is going to move away from building underlying foundational AI models. We have enough of those, and they are getting commoditized, as Grok 4.3 proved today.
Right.
Instead, capital will flood entirely toward deployment startups, the unglamorous companies that just do the messy, boring, frustrating work of hooking these powerful APIs into legacy real-world systems.
Digital plumbers.
The digital plumbers will inherit the earth.
I love that. And to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to chew on as you go about your day. If AI can eventually solve the friction of software, and robotics can eventually solve the friction of manufacturing, what happens to our economy when human attention and human biology become the only scarce resources left to mine? Think about that 11-hour AI coding loop running silently in the background while you're just trying to figure out how to crack a window without waking up to a garbage truck.
Thank you for joining us for this analysis.
Stay curious, stay optimized, and we will see you next time on the Daily Vibecasting.